Well, for more on this, joining us now is human rights campaigner and Niger Delta activist Annkio Briggs. Annkio, glad to have you join us on Newsnight. Listening to that report from our correspondent, Ijaws, one thing stares you in the face: seeming disunity among the people of the Niger Delta. They seem to be the ones causing their problems. What do you think?
It is rather unfortunate for us in the Niger Delta that anything we say about our situation or any position we take about our situation seems to give the coloration, or it wants to be believed that initially the Niger Delta people are so disunited that they cannot speak with one voice, or that Ijaws people, according to the report that we have just seen, that Ijaws people somehow can never come together and agree on something. This type of thinking is useful as far as the government is concerned. Now, when I look at what has happened with the pipeline contract, if we recall, the pipeline contract is already an existing contract. From when Yaradua was alive, it was discussed. To the point where Yaradua died, it had not taken off. And Jonathan came along and activated it again, and it took place. Now, when it took place, there were stakeholders that had this initial contract. When this government came on board, this government took away the contract, dissolved the contract, and reissued it to another company from the Niger Delta that is not an Ijaws person. So it is not as if Ijaws are fighting themselves. I have listened to the different reports. I've listened to Ovieteme's report. And for me, as a Niger Delta person, as an Ijaws person, what I am hearing from their sentiments and what they are rightfully expressing, it's not against Niger Delta people, it's not against a fellow Ijaws man, it is against the federal government. It is the federal government that has issued this contract. But now let us take a step back and follow the trend. What is it? A contract was issued. Whom was the contract issued to? How do you get to issue a contract? You get to issue a contract. Are you just walking down the road and somebody calls you and give you a contract that you have not applied for? No, it's not. It doesn't work like that. So if somebody like Tompolo has been issued this contract for pipeline protection, bearing in mind that some of this pipeline, quite rightly, runs into other people's communities that are Ijaws and that are not Ijaws, that are in Bayelsa, Rivers State, and Delta State, Edo State, and Akwa Ibom State. Not all of the pipes have been given to, not all the job has been given to Tompolo. There is actually a company that has far more than Tompolo has. And if you look at it from there, then you put down what the young men have said there, which is the situation with our environment, the sacrifices that the Niger Delta people, particularly people like the Ogonis, people like the Ijaws, have made in terms of the devastation that they have endured. Now, if you want that your pipelines should be protected, because the pipelines do belong to the federal government, it is the resources that is going through the pipeline that belong to us, because it is in our land, it is in our creeks. Now, if you want to protect that which you claim belongs to you, and you're not there physically to protect it, you have to contract it to people that you are sure will be able to protect it. Let us remember that in the past 4 years or 5 years since this contract was reissued by the federal government, before they now issued it back to Tompolo, we should not forget that there was a company that had this contract. And from all indications of what we have heard and with the available information, this company did not do well, comparing to when Tompolo and others had it during Jonathan's time. Today, the stealing of crude oil is far more than it was at that time. So what I'm saying, therefore, is that I do not agree that we should look at this thing as Ijaw people fighting themselves. No, it is Ijaw people need to sit around the table amongst ourselves and decide how we are going to be able to make this work in favor of the Niger Delta people that so far have suffered the brunt and the brutalities that has come to our environment with the exploration and the exploitation of oil and gas.
Absolutely, and it will be very, very important to, find a way forward. About this Creek men, I wonder how this comes to you, seeing them so heavily armed and, their faces covered. How scary is that, for you? And their grouse is that they were not even consulted at all. And as far as they're concerned, the Kalabari end of it, about 80-something kilometers, that they should have been consulted along with others. That seems to be their grouse. And I'd also like to know your thoughts that some northern youth groups, about 225 of them, are also pushing back on this particular, pipeline contract surveillance. They're saying it is either the government drops or withdraws this contract or provide this, similar contracts for them to protect different parts of the country, different regions. What's your take?
Well, first of all, let me come to the very sensitive issue of the pipelines that we're talking about. I will address the issue of whether they are 2,000 or 250 million. I don't care. Youths that are whatever they are asking for in the north. Now, talking about Kalabari people, if you look at that, and Ovieteme should be able to tell you this, listening to that, of course, there are Kalabari people there. And don't forget, I'm Kalabari myself. So I understood what they were saying. And don't forget, I'm Ijaw. And so there were also Ijaws there. There are also Wakrike people there. So it is an Ijaw group that is there in terms of what they said. Now, because their faces are covered, I cannot say categorically that every single one of them is an Ijaw person, because not every single one of them spoke. But I am not disregarding what they are saying. It is a misunderstanding. And this misunderstanding, we shouldn't forget that I personally have put the misunderstanding that has evolved around this thing as coming directly from the government. First of all, the federal government did not make it clear, which it should, and which we should understand, that Tompolo, whatever Tompolo has in the contract that he applied for and they have given to him, is a certain percentage. Now, there is another company that has the remaining percentage. Now, who is that company? And who is the owner of that company? Is the owner of that company also an Ijaw man? So is the one given to Tompolo more than the one given to other people? So that's why I say that anytime there seems to be a misunderstanding or a slight discontent amongst Ijaw people, it is what is blown up. And so now, moving forward to talking about the people in the north that are saying the government should either withdraw it or give them something. Well, the government can give them where people are mining gold and where people are mining whatever it is that they are mining in the north for them to protect. If they are saying that they are going to come and protect things that are in the Niger Delta, well, I can tell them for free and without being one of the people carrying guns, that's not going to be possible. They are not going to come and protect pipelines in the Niger Delta creeks. It is
All right,
the people.
let me get in. Let me get in this before.
They're not asking to protect pipelines. The Northern youth are saying if government is saying Tom Polo should protect the Niger Delta pipelines, the Northern youth also should be allowed to protect their own the assets within their own regions, and as a matter of fact, assets within other regions.
Yes, I
argument.
said that. If they want to protect the gold mines that they are mining in, is it Kaduna or Zamfara or wherever they are mining, they're free to mine it. They're free to protect it. But if they are now using the protection of Niger Delta pipeline as the yardstick to measure what they should be doing, again, we go back to the point where we're saying, first of all, the exploration and exploitation of oil and gas, we have paid a huge price for it. A long time ago, when they were mining diamonds in places like Liberia, we heard the world say that the diamonds coming from Liberia is blood diamond. I think that we have said this before. We should have a moratorium on the exploration of oil and gas for Nigeria. Let us see how Nigeria will survive, because the oil that Nigeria is using today is blood oil. People have died and people are still dying. The world should see this crude oil that is being stolen. Who are the people stealing this crude oil? A few weeks ago, the Nigerian Navy said they saw a boat that was loaded with about how many million barrels of crude oil from the Niger Delta. They pursued it, and it got out of their waters, and it was people from Guinea or wherever that now caught that boat. I mean, does that boat belong to Tom Polo? Does it belong to Annkio Briggs? Does it belong to who does it belong to? It belongs to the foreigners. It belongs to the international people that are flying international flags. So coming back home, what we are saying is that for today, the issue of this pipeline protection, I have information available to me is based on what happened before and the people that had access to this contract. Now, Tom Polo has access to the contract. I'm aware that Tom Polo is in consultation with a lot of persons, and a lot of people have spoken with Tom Polo. He's meeting with people. The contract, he went for the contract. The contract has been given to him. Ijaws people and the whole of Niger Delta people should be able to begin to come together when we're talking about issues to do with Niger Delta, whether it is NDDC, whether it is amnesty, whatever it is. If it is within the Niger Delta focus, then it concerns everybody, so that all the burden is not always put on Ijaws people. We're now exposing Ijaws people all over the place as the people who want to kill themselves because of the oil that is on their land. Already, we have been killed for the oil in our land. Already, we've been devastated by the oil in our land. We should not allow strangers to come in and tell us, like that young man was saying, from the colonial days to the days of amalgamation, to the days of independence, to today, where everything has been taken away from us. So what we are saying in the Niger Delta, particularly in the Ijaws ethnic nationality, is that this little crumb, this is crumb as far as I'm concerned, that has fallen from the table of federal government, who is taking our resources, should not lead to Ijaws people now disregarding the serious issues that is facing us as an ethnic nationality in Nigeria. Nigeria is crumbling, for crying out loud. So Ijaws people are not interested in killing themselves and fighting themselves for their own property that is in their own land.
All right, a very good place to live it.
Exactly, that's the point. All right, Annkio, that's the point. Yeah, that's the point.
Right. Annkio Briggs, Niger Delta activist, joining us on Newsnight tonight.